whenever I'm teaching about a hero, what do I think the hero wants me to get across? Or why did the hero choose to do this work?
What was it that this person did in order to engage their communities? By holding on to those things, what I'm holding on to is a blueprint for my own possibility. When I think about the discourse on race in the history of America, we have been miseducated into thinking that all racial progress is magic, right? That if you let the textbooks tell it, Martin Luther King waved a magic wand at the March on Washington and racism disappeared.
There was black children and white children, and they didn't get to ride the school bus together, and they didn't get to go to school together. And then there was this man named Dr. King, and he did this march, and kumbaya, peace dove, in front of the White House, we all hold hands.
That erases our participatory agency. That we, throughout history, have been led to believe that I or we can't make change together because I'm not smart like Frederick Douglass or I'm not eloquent like Martin Luther King. And so I think it's really important when I examine my heroes, so when I look at the Sojourner Truths or when I look at the Audre Lordes of the world, it's important for me to recognize that what I see on the surface as magic is calculated hard work and study and collective community building.
Where anti-racism calls us to look is at systemic roots and also calls us to look at ways in which people have organized, because we know that we make progress through organization. And now thinking about Dr. King, I teach first about him as a whole human being that loved and laughed and was married, and show pictures of his children and show how old he was. He was a part of a larger movement. He played a pivotal role in that movement, and the role that he played was organizing millions of people against racism. And that even after he was assassinated or murdered, because of his radical ideology of being anti-racist, other folks have picked up the torch and have carried the work even now to this day.
It's important to really believe in the work of this and not just the magic.
And I'm not just teaching about him as an individual, but I'm teaching about grassroots organizing. I'm teaching about boycotting. I'm teaching about protesting. I'm teaching about democracy. These are all things that Dr. King was fighting for. Civil rights, fighting for equity, fighting for Black lives to matter, fighting for poor folks to matter. Then how can I teach about these things on a systemic level, but then also think about ways that what he was fighting against? How does that still exist today? And so we're all a part of this story, and it continues until we have millions of people across the world who want to organize against racism, white supremacy, and the patriarchy together, and for us to reimagine how we want our world to be and then build that world by everyday actions.